there are very many people who started poultry farming as a business and succeeded, while on the other hand, there are also those ones who started poultry farming as a business as well but failed to succeed. Honestly speaking, I have done a little bit of research of these people who have failed to succeed in the poultry business, and out of 10 you will find that 8 of the 10 people, they normally say that they encountered a lot of problems concerning poultry feeds. That's what we are going to be talking about in this very episode. So if you don't want to miss it, get ready for the video. Hello guys, I hope you guys are having a nice day / night depending on where you're watching me from. My name is Jacob, a passionate farmer about poultry keeping. On this channel we talk about poultry farming in general. So if you are one of the people who wants to start a poultry farm one day or one time, then you stick on the channel by subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to turn on your bell notification so that you will be notified immediately I drop any video on the channel. It's been a while since I last uploaded a video on the channel guys, but yeah, I'm now back as usual and I'll try posting lots of videos so that we get in touch. I assume that you are one of the people who wants to start a poultry farm one day. So one thing that I want to tell you in today's episode is that when you are a poultry farmer and you want to start a poultry farm one day, the poultry feeds is one of the things that you should look at as something very, very important. Yeah, the poultry feeds. Because the poultry feeds, when it comes to the total cost of production in the poultry farming entirely, the poultry feeds sum up to 80% of the total cost of production. In other words, the total feeds, they take up the lion's share when it comes to the poultry expenses in general. So in this very video, I am going to give you a way on how you can escape this problem that we have in the poultry farming, particularly the poultry feeds. So number one is that try as much as possible to invest your time in learning how to mix the poultry feeds. That's the first thing. When it comes to mixing of the poultry feeds, this is a topic of itself which is very, very, very hard to understand, and most of the people, they really don't understand it. But if you take your time guys, take your time, read books, and then you will understand on how to mix these poultry feeds, right from the ingredients, the amount of the ingredients needed, up to making up a good poultry feed mixture at the end. I have made videos on how to mix poultry feeds. In fact, there are 2 videos. The A part is there and then the B part is also there. But in those particular videos, I talked much on the type of the ingredients. In fact, there are very many things in those videos concerning mixing of the poultry feeds. So if you want to understand more, you can actually go and watch those videos and they will help you so much at the end in mixing your poultry feeds. As you all know, there are very many sources that we can use in mixing the poultry feeds. Just like in human beings, whereby we have carbohydrates which they give us energy, we have proteins which they help in building up our body. In some areas where they don't have maize, there is also an alternative, which is the wheat, which is the barley, which is the sorghum, which also serves as maize if you don't have it in your area. So there are very many things that we actually talked on over there, so you can go and watch it. Number 2 is that, let's say that you have enough land and you can also cultivate these crops, like for instance the maize, the soybean, which is also a source of protein. It is advisable that you can plant your own maize and then you can use them to feed your birds, unlike buying the maize time and again, because there are also times whereby the prices of the maize will shoot up very high. But if you have grown your maize and then you have them in your store, it will be very easy for you to pick the maize and then give them to your birds without any expense incurred over there. So that's the second thing, how we can actually minimize the cost of the feeds that we normally incur in the poultry business. If you don't have enough land, because there are other poultry farmers who are in town-like settings, in other words, they don't have enough land to cultivate and then feed their birds. So what you need to do is that first try to save up money, and then when harvesting time comes, or let me say that when the maize is now ready, you can go and then buy from the farmers in the villages. Make sure that you go in the villages, because in the rural areas, the maize is very, very cheap compared to the urban centers. So try to save up and then go and buy maize when the prices are still very, very low. That way you will save up a lot of money that you would use to buy maize when the prices have really, really shoot up. So that's the next thing that you should do as a poultry farmer in order to prevent the expenses that you will be spending on the poultry feeds. And then one big, big mistake that I've seen from very many farmers out there, very many of them, in poultry keeping, normally there are two types of birds that we are much interested in. That is the broilers and then the layers. Broilers, they normally take a maximum of 2 months. The birds are ready to be sold. While the layers, you can keep them for up to 18 weeks and then they'll start giving you an egg, which means that within these 18 weeks, you will be spending money on feeding these birds. And remember, these layer birds, they eat every day and then you are actually getting nothing from them. Unlike the broilers, you can feed them like for 2 months and then you will get back your money. But layers, no way. You must keep them for up to 18 weeks. That's when they will start giving you an egg, at least an egg, and then maybe around the 19th or 20th week, that is when you will start seeing money coming back and you will be using that money in the poultry, like in the buying of the feeds. So what I'm trying to say is that very many farmers really want to start with the layers because it is very, very profitable compared to the broilers, but without calculating how much they will be spending on all the expenses which it takes for the birds to start laying. You will see that very many farmers, they will start up a poultry farm, build up a poultry structure, bring in the birds, let's say 1,000 birds, and then start keeping these birds. And you will find that at around 17 weeks over there, the farmer has no money to buy the feeds for the birds. So you will be forced to sell off your birds because you have nothing that can feed them to reach up to those 20 weeks. So what I'm trying to say is that let us not try to look ahead just in 2 months, 3 months. Let's take one step at a time. Remember, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So don't ignore that one step. Do it, and by the time you'll reach the 1,000 miles, you will be very, very vast on how to play the game very well. So that's the biggest problem that I see with poultry farmers. I suggest you stock broiler birds, and then after bringing the birds time and again, like for like a year, you will be in position to bring in the feeds that can sustain you for like 20 weeks or 20 or more weeks, so that you will not be interrupted by money when it comes to keeping in your birds. So that's what I wanted to say about the poultry feeds. And on top of that, still on the poultry feeds, more especially on these local birds, the local chicken, there are very many feeds that you can give to these local birds apart from the ready-made feeds or the mixed feeds. Like for instance, I am keeping local birds and I don't like to give them commercial feeds or the ready mixed feeds because they are too expensive. Like you all know, the local birds, they take very long time to grow. In other words, the rate at which these birds convert the feeds which are given to them is very, very low. So guys, even if you give the local birds the good feeds, like the best commercial feeds, the rate at which they convert these feeds is absolutely very, very low. At the end, you will find that the money that you have spent in buying the feeds alone is more than the amount of money that you want to sell your bird. That's why you see very many poultry farmers, especially those one doing the local birds, they tend to find it very, very hard when it comes to feeding these birds. I personally, I am giving them leftover foods and then, cabbages from the market. I collect things which I don't spend much money on buying them. That way, keeping the local birds will be very, very good. But if you are to keep them 100% on the commercial feeds, you will absolutely get nothing at the end. And more so, keep them on a free range system so that they can roam, try to cultivate the area where these birds are staying so that they can have access to the ground, scratching, eating the worms, stuff like that. That way keeping the birds will be very, very wonderful. Otherwise, in my next video, we are going to be talking about how to successfully run a poultry farm. So if you don't want to miss that video, then guys, please subscribe to the channel. That way you can be one of the family members in this awesome YouTube channel. And yeah, don't forget to stay on the channel. See you in my next video. Bye.